Okay, guys, types of lines. There are three different types of lines that you are going to have to find the equations for. We're going to practice that. So you're going to have to write it in that formula y equals mx plus c. Or remember, I told you guys that we're going to practice a second formula. So I'll show you how to use that second formula today. Some of you have seen it before, others haven't. All right, but when they ask us to find the these three types of lines, we're going to have to write the formula as in y equals like 2x plus 1. That always has to be in that final form. So the first type of line, and guys, they're just going to say find the equation of the whatever. Okay, they're not going to tell you how to do it, so you need to know these off by heart. So the first one is the median, which you have heard that term before in stats, in data handling. The median is the number in the middle. All right, so this is similar to that. The median is a line from the vertex of a triangle. Now, guys, how many vertices does a triangle have? How many points? 3. All right, so it can be from any one of those 3 vertices. A line from the vertex of a triangle to the median is the middle value, the midpoint. So it's always from the vertex of a triangle to the midpoint of the opposite side. Okay, so whenever you think, whenever you hear, sorry, median, you must think midpoint. Okay, it's always from one vertex. They'll tell you which vertex. Just put it here, thank you. To the midpoint of the opposite side. So I'm going to draw a triangle here and just show you guys one example, just so that you can see. All right, so just draw any triangle. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine. We'll just call that triangle ABC. And then I would like you guys on your BC line, kind of try and like just eyeball where you think the midpoint of that line will be. You can also measure it. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfectly in the middle, but just what we do say. Well, guys, that midpoint. Sorry. What do we use for midpoint again? A capital M, right? So if it's the midpoint of BC, I can write that as M of BC. And then the median will go from vertex of point A to that midpoint of the opposite side, right? From point A, the opposite side is BC. So if they're asking you to find the equation of the median from vertex A, right, then you need to think, okay, if the vertex is A, the opposite side is going to have to be BC. So it's going to have to go to the midpoint of the opposite side. Right, on this line BC, let's just put one line there and then one line on that other side. That is just indicating that those two parts are equal. All right, so if these two parts are equal, that means that this point is cutting it in half. All right, so this is the midpoint of BC. Now let's draw the same triangle just next to it. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but again, we're going to draw an ABC triangle. Now, I actually just want to write something here. Can you just highlight this line or do it in a different color or something? Because I'm just going to write at the bottom here what that line is called. Look at that. And I'll just make a star using that purple color. That is called the median from vertex A. Now, they're not always going to tell you which line is going to go to the midpoint of. And they'll tell you which vertex it's from. It'll say it's from vertex A. If you hear the word median, you need to think it's from vertex A is going to the midpoint of the opposite side. All right, if the point is A, then the opposite side is going to be, right, it's always the other two letters of the line. Okay, so the median from vertex A, therefore, to midpoint of BC. So now for the next one, I want us to draw the median from vertex B. I'm going to say that again, the median from vertex B. So it's going to start at point B, and it's going to have to go to the midpoint of the opposite side, which is going to be AC. All right, so guys, we're just going to say median from point B. Then you must think, what are the other two letters, A and C? So it's going to go to the midpoint of AC. So again, just on this line, just kind of eyeball where you think that midpoint should be. That is now the midpoint of AC. Let's label it as that, please. You can give it another letter. You can call it D if you want. But let's just remember that that is actually the midpoint. If we're saying median, it will always go to the midpoint of the opposite side. We're drawing in that line. That line is called the median. We're putting in our two small lines just to show that those two parts are equal. Now let's see if I have a different highlighter here, or you can pick one. You can use the same one if you want. All right. Those two, I suppose. All right, so that pink one now is the median from vertex C. So if it's from vertex B, it has to go to the midpoint of the opposite side, which is AC. So there is one last one, guys. Right? You could also do a median from vertex C, which will then have to go to the midpoint of AB. All right. So let's draw that one as well. I'm not going to draw all three of them for all three types of lines that we're going to do, just for this first one, just so that we can get used to it. So let's do a triangle again. Okay, so now we're going to go from vertex C to the midpoint of the opposite side, which is going to be AB. So again, you can just find that midpoint of that line. That is now the midpoint of AB. So let's label it as that. We're going to draw in that line. We are just showing that those two parts are equal. So again, I'm just going to Okay, so guys, what they can do is they might not even give you the picture. Okay, they might not even draw the triangle to you. They might just give you the coordinates of the 3 points. So the coordinates of A and of B and of C, and ask you to find the median, the equation of the median from vertex A. Then you must think, okay, if it's a point A, what is the opposite side? BC, right? Or the vertex from point B. Then the opposite side is AC. Right, so you need to be able to recognize what midpoint you're going to have to find. Okay, so I'm going to write the steps on here to find the equation of a median. But I'm actually going to go back up right to the top quickly because I just want us to write something here where we have our y equals mx plus c. I don't know if you remember this, but to find the equation of any straight line, you always need 2 points on that line. Okay, so let's just write that here at the top, because for each of these, we're going to have to work with 2 points. So need 2 points on the line. Not on any line, on the line that you are trying to find the equation of. So if you're trying to find the equation of the median, you're going to need 2 points on the median. Okay, now if we're looking at the median, guys, what 2 points are actually lying on this line? The point A, right, the vertex that it's coming from, and the midpoint of the opposite side. The point A they're going to give us. They're going to tell us what this is. How can I find this one? They're going to give us A, B, and C. What is this point again? This is the midpoint. That's what you want to say? Oh, all right. All right, this is the midpoint. So how are we going to find the midpoint of this line? Using the midpoint formula. Okay, so that's what we're going to do, guys. That's going to be our first step. Step 1, they're asking to find the median. We're going to find the midpoint of the side opposite the given vertex. So like I said, they're going to have to tell you which vertex this median is coming from. Because in any triangle, there are 3 possible ones. Okay, they can't just say find the equation of the median of this triangle because there are 3. Right, so they will tell you which vertex is coming from, either A or B or C. We're going to find the midpoint of the side opposite the given vertex. Right, that's step 1. Guys, even if you just do that, you're going to get a mark for doing that. Okay, so if you see the word median and you know which side is the opposite one, you can get 1 mark for finding that midpoint. Step 2 is going to be to find the gradient of the line. Right, we're trying to find y equals mx plus c. M is the gradient. All right, so find the gradient, which is m. I'll just put that in brackets, of the median using change in y, thank you, change in y over change in x. Now guys, to do change in y over change in x, you need to have 2 points, right? Like we said already. So you're going to do the y value of the one minus the y value of the other, that's your change in y, over x value of the one minus x value of the other, that's change in x. Now the 2 points that you're going to use are the given vertex and the midpoint that you find in step 1. Okay, so I'm going to write that in brackets. Use the given vertex and the midpoint found in step 1. Okay, once you've done that, you have M. We need Y equals MX plus C, right? So then we'll have M. Now guys, we are going to work with the second formula, so I'm going to write that now in step 3. In our step 3, once we have M, all that's left is for us to substitute one point into this equation, right? A point on our line, okay? Remember, we need 2 points on the line. So if they're asking us for this line, for example, right, you're not going to sub in point C to get the equation of this line. C is not on this line. Okay, that's a very common mistake. Is that people just want to take any point that you have and you just want to sub it into the equation. All right? If you find an equation of this median here, you need to either sub in point A or this midpoint that you found in step 1. If you're finding this median, you either have to sub in point B or the midpoint of AC. It has to be a point on the actual line that you're trying to find. Okay, you can't sub in any other point. It has to be a point on that line. So that's going to be step 3. Sub in either the given vertex, and you can decide, guys. Usually, or sometimes one of the points it has simpler values to work with, but you can decide which one you want to use. Either the given vertex or the midpoint and we're going to sub it into this formula. So that is step 3. And then step 4 is going to be multiply the brackets out and write the equation in standard form. The standard form of a straight line equation is y equals mx plus b. We're going to find the value of m, right? That's what we're doing in step 2. So m is going to be a number. And you'll see when we practice it, when you multiply this bracket up and then move that minus y1 over to the other side, you'll also have the value of c. Okay, so we're going to practice an example of this. Okay, so guys, when you see the word median, I want you to think midpoint straight away. Okay, and then go from there. Just make sure that everyone's done copying this down, because I'm going to have to write the example in the next page. Okay, if you're ready, you can write examples along. Okay, we are working with P, which is the point -2 and 6. And then we are working with the point Q, which is 5, 9. And R, which is 3, -3. Right, those are the 3 points that are given. Find the equation of the median of triangle Q2R from vertex, you can also say from point P. Let me say that as number one. Now guys, if this median is from vertex P, then it's going to the midpoint of the opposite side. Now, what is the opposite side of point P? If you can just think of a triangle, it doesn't actually matter how that triangle looks. You have a PQR. If it's from point P, it's going to go to QR. All right. So from vertex P to the midpoint of QR, it's always the other two letters. Always to the midpoint of the other two letters. So guys, the 2 points that we're going to work with here to find this equation is going to be P, which they gave us, and the midpoint of QR, which we need to calculate. Okay, so that's going to be our first thing. So remember, to find an equation of a straight line, you always need 2 points. These are going to be the 2 points that we're going to work with. All right, so step 1, we're going to find the midpoint of QR. And guys, when you're doing this, please write QR there. Okay, so that I, the marker, whoever is marking it, if it's in an exam, it will be someone else, so that we can see exactly which midpoint we're finding it. Because you might make a mistake, right? When you're actually calculating the midpoint, you might make something a plus where it's supposed to be a minus. But if we can see that, at least you know that it's the midpoint of the correct side, then we can see A from there. All right, then you can work with your mistake. But please put in that QR. Okay, for the midpoint, we take the sum of the two x values. So we're going to do 5 plus 3 over 2. Remember, midpoint formula, we add the two values together and we divide by 2. And for the y value, it's now going to be 9 minus 3. All right, so it's a negative number there. 9 minus 3 over 2. You can use a calculator or you can just work that out. 5 plus 3 is 8, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. Then we have 9 minus 3, which is 6, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay, so we're going to be working with that point and 20. Those are the only 2 points on the line that we're trying to find. Okay, so I'm going to write it on the side. Therefore, basically what we're doing is we are going to find the equation of the line going through P and midpoint of QR. So guys, it's quite a good idea to actually just rewrite those coordinates next to each other. All right, so P on this one. Just put a colon after that so that the marker can see exactly what you're going to do now. Step 1 is done, guys. You have a mark there. Okay, 1 mark. Maybe 2 marks. Maybe I'll give you 2 marks for using the midpoint formula and for getting 2 marks. Step 2 is to now find the gradient between those 2 points. Right, so the gradient is changing line over changing it. So I'm going to say y value minus y value. 6 minus 3. over change in x, -2 minus 4. Again, you can type that into the calculator if you want, it's no problem. 6 minus 3 is 3, and at the bottom I'm going to have -6. Okay, so this is 3 over -6. So this gradient is actually -1/2, but like I said, you can type that into the calculator, you'll get the answer straight away. But this is the gradient of my line, guys. So now I'm actually going to write y minus y1 is equal to n, but n is now -1/2. Okay, so I'm going to use that n value times x minus x1. I'll just write on the side where this is coming from. This is actually that formula, y minus y1 equals n times x minus x1. Okay, so I'm just actually putting my x value into that formula. My n value, sorry. Putting my n value, the gradient that we just calculated, I'm putting into this second formula that some of you have never worked with before. Now, guys, the next step now, which was step 3, is now to sub in either one of the 2 points that we have. Only one of these two, guys, not Q or R, right? These two are the only 2 points on the line that we're trying to find the equation of. So now you can decide which point looks nicer to work with. It's up to you. Maybe the one without a negative, maybe the 43, is that fine? You could also work with P, guys, no problem, you'll get the same answer. Okay, but let's sub in the point 43. Now, because many of you haven't seen this formula before, the x value of the point that you're subbing in is x1. Right? And the y value of the point that you're subbing in is y1. The other y and x is going to stay in your formula. Because if you're thinking of a straight line equation, it's supposed to be y equals something, x plus something, right? So it has to have a y and an x in it. So we're going to put these values in the place of y1 and x1. But the y and x is going to stay there. Okay, so I'm going to say y minus, what is my y1 now? The value of this point. The y value of this point is 3. Equals -1/2 x minus, what is the x1 value? The x value of my point that I'm subbing in, 4. Okay, so that is how you sub it in, guys. We are going to have that first y and the first x. We're not going to try and get rid of them. Okay, the formula has to have a y and x. So that's step 3, guys. That line is actually subbing it in. Step 4 is now going to be to multiply this bracket out and then to move the -3 over to the other side so that we have y equals everything else. Okay, so I'm going to leave the y minus 3 here for now. I'm going to multiply this bracket out. -1/2 times x is -1/2 x. And what is -1/2 times -4? +2. You just want to check that, you can use the calculator as well. Now, the very last thing we need to do is we need to move that -3 over to this side. What is the -2 going to become when I move it? -3 becomes +3. Right, so I'm still going to have my -1/2 x. I have a 2 here. What is 2 plus 3 plus 5? There we have the equation of that line. That is the equation of the median. Okay, I'm just going to show you some more marks that you'll get to. You'll get a mark for calculating this gradient. You will then get a mark for substituting in, and you will get a mark for your answer. Okay, so that's probably a 4, maybe a 5 mark question. They might give you a mark for this line as well. But guys, you couldn't do any of this if you didn't know what a median is, right? They're saying find the equation of the median. You have to know what the median is in order to know I must find the midpoint. Then I must find the gradient between the vertex that they told me to work with here and that midpoint. Then I must sub in either the vertex or the midpoint. All right, so guys, you have to find the midpoint. You're going to use it in almost everything. Okay, your work now, you will be able to finish it in class, I'm sure, is for number 2, We're still working with the same points, but you are going to find the equation of the median from vertex Q, and then you're going to find the equation of the median from vertex R. All right, so the other two medians. So number 2. Now you can just write that down and actually do the calculation. All right, so that it follows nicely. When you're done with number 2, you're going to do number 3, which is going to be to find the equation of the median of triangle PQR from vertex R. So now you're going to have to use the exact same steps every time, all right? So you can look at the first example as a guide, but you first need to figure out if it's going from vertex Q, which line is it going to go to? What midpoint must we find? You're going to have to find the midpoint of, it's going from Q, the midpoint of PR. Right, so that's what you're going to do in the question 2. The next one, if it's going from vertex R, you need to find the midpoint of the opposite side, which is PQ. Okay, so you're going to do the exact same calculations, but you're going to be using different points each time. Okay, so get working on that, guys. You have about 22 minutes. I'm sure you can finish in that time. All right, and if you're done, then you can do something else. And you can just rest.